I asked ChatGPT. I typed in, please compose a 30-second prayer to God in praise to the glory of God's grace.
John Piper said no AI prayers, since it dilutes or creates distance in our relationship with God.
That's a machine. Because I'm asking, is that praise? No! Computers do words better than you, better than me. They don't feel anything.
But there are ways that you should use AI as a pastor to support your work. In this video, I'll walk through 5 specific ways you can use AI to save you hours every week on administrative tasks, content development, and leadership systems at your church. You'll want to stay to the end when I walk through some tips on how to prompt and train your AI to really support your specific ministry. This way, you can spend more time on what really matters, preaching the word and shepherding your flock. Let's get into it. First, I should address a bit of an elephant in the room when it comes to using AI, particularly even just stemming from John Piper's comments. There can be questions, and I know there's some skepticism and concern about using this type of technology at all. And I would just say, and this is just my opinion, AI technology and these large language models or LLMs like ChatGPT, Microsoft Copilot, and so forth, they're software. These are software programs that leverage data, historical data or databases of information. They process that data and they produce an output. And what makes them different is as a user that gives you the opportunity to give input to say how you want that processing to take place and what you want that output to look like. So in many ways, if you use a laptop, a tablet, a mobile device of some sort, you're using technology that leverages software to produce results, and AI is exactly the same thing. So, certainly would encourage you to wrestle with it in whatever way that you do with any new technology and how to, how it's appropriate to use it or not use it. But I just want to say that going into this, my really thinking on this is software technology that's helpful, and it allows us to focus on things that are most important and really let the technology do things that are less priority in terms of tasks and so forth. So with that, let's get into 5 ways that I think pastors should use AI. So here's number 1, streamline administrative tasks. So AI can be used to do everything from summarizing a meeting or planning an agenda or creating follow-up notes. It also can be used to draft emails or reminders, thank you messages, and to do this quickly. Also automating recurring tasks like scheduling or announcements. So these are really just ways that you can take some of the administrative work that you're doing and make it quicker, make it simpler, or even improve the quality. So an example here, you could use something like ChatGPT or Otter.ai, which is a really good transcription software with AI summary capabilities. And create those follow-up summaries for meetings that take place. And that way you have a quick outline of here's what happened, here's what we talked about, here's what we're going to do next. As always, you want to review these and read these and make sure they're accurate, but then creating this summary quickly without having to spend a lot of time typing. Number 2, mobilize volunteer leaders with better communication. And of course, this wouldn't be the Nehemiah Way channel without talking about mobilizing volunteer leaders. But this one I think is really helpful because AI can really help to improve communication. 2 ways. It can help you, number 1, just to make sure you get it done, just because it helps you to make it quick and easy. And then also just to make sure that you're getting the message right and you can go through iterations to get it right. So really what you're doing here is writing clear volunteer role descriptions or onboarding guides or things that you need to communicate to volunteer leaders to make sure that you have the consistency that you're looking for. Also, customizing training materials that you might use to train volunteer leaders and to keep everybody on the same page. And then also just to keep communication organized and consistent, using AI-generated templates and applying new content to those templates. An example here, you could create a template that you use for a newsletter to send out to the youth group and all the parents and families related to the youth group on a regular weekly basis. And this way, all you have to do is identify the new topics each week, and the AI can actually populate and prepare those emails. You can also use the AI to actually generate the messaging itself by simply giving it the top main points and asking it to generate the message, refining it perhaps a few times until it's right to drop into those templates. Number 3, generate creative content for engagement and outreach. These can be the things that you come up with to make sure that you're engaging regularly with the internal community of the church and also the community more broadly. So this can be things like brainstorming promotional themes for programs or activities. It can be writing social media posts or captions or event blurbs. It can also be generating questions or summaries for upcoming events or things that you want people to be thinking about as they're getting ready to participate in an activity that you have planned. So as an example, you might use AI to brainstorm 10 social media posts that promote your next sermon series, or generate questions or really ideas that would relate to a particular theme or event that's coming up that will draw people in and create some interest for it. Number 4, to help you to design and support ministry systems. So these can be things like mapping out step-by-step workflows. Things like, how are we going to follow up with visitors when they arrive? Or what's the life cycle of someone once they join the church? You can also use AI to help you create checklists for event planning or team coordination. You can also draft internal SOPs, standard operating procedures, so that you have consistency in your ministry. As an example, you could ask an AI to draft a 4-week follow-up plan for first-time visitors, or develop a workflow for how your church could start a benevolence fund that's run by volunteers. Number 5, leveraging AI to help to train and equip staff leaders, lay leaders, and volunteers in your church. This can be things like creating training outlines and discussion questions, putting together training guides, maybe developing role play examples for common leadership scenarios that may come up in your church, or to provide content for leadership development in various formats, things like videos, instructions, templates, and so on. So an example could be putting together a training guide on how to address conflict resolution in small groups, including role play examples and suggestions for how a small group leader might approach a situation that emerges in their group. Before I wrap up, I want to talk briefly about training AIs to support your work as a pastor. So often, those that just get started using AI jump into a platform like ChatGPT and just start one thread and just ask a question or do something simple with it. And the problem with that is what's going to happen is the response that comes out is going to be very general. It's going to use all the information that's available on the internet or in its databases to come up with some kind of a response. However, it doesn't have any context for what you're doing. And so the real power of AI comes in when you start to train it and give it details about who you are, what you're doing, what you're trying to achieve, and the tasks that you want to engage AI to help you with. So what I would say is if you're just getting started, first, choose an AI that you're comfortable with. So popular AIs like ChatGPT or Claude or Google Gemini. Also, Microsoft Copilot is becoming increasingly popular, particularly if you use the Microsoft 365 suite. It's included, and they're really encouraging use of that. But whatever one you want to start with, pick one that seems comfortable and just start to work with that AI before you're even trying to actually get work done. Imagine like you hired a new employee and how you would interact with them that first day, helping them understand the context of the work that they're doing, what your expectations are, and so forth. I mean, start with just introducing yourself. Who are you? What is your background? How did you end up in this job? What are the things you've done in the past? What's your education? What are you passionate about? What do you really hope to achieve? What's your vision for the ministry, for the mission? So these are things that really give context to the AI as you start to use it for doing more and more of your busy work. And that's where, you want to look at, how can this take away some of those things that take a lot of time that aren't producing a lot of value. And the more that you can give it background about your strategies, vision, just your purposes and your goals for the church, the more effective it's going to be at producing work that aligns with what you want to see. Another thing that you can do that's really helpful is actually feeding the AI past work that you've done to show it what you want your work to look like. So an example could be if you have 100 emails on a particular topic, you might feed those 100 emails that you have sent, maybe say to the mission committee or to the worship team, and take 100 emails and just one after another, just say, I want to load in a bunch of emails so you can see how I communicate with this team. And it'll say, go ahead, give me the first one, put the first one in, and then it'll say, okay, give me another one, and just keep adding them. And what that does is it shows it what it looks like when you do it so that it knows what to replicate and what to emulate. And so in this way, you're helping it to learn. And another thing that you can do to really facilitate this process is use the same thread in the chat over and over again for a particular theme. So what I like to do is I create assistants for myself. I create an assistant for this YouTube channel. I create an assistant to help me organize my research notes. I create an assistant to help me with my email communications. And this is really just one of the chat windows in the AI, but going back to that every time I want to work on that topic, because that gives it the context for all of the things that I've done in the past in that area. And so these are the things that you do to actually train the AI and show it what you want your output to look like. And finally, every time you ask the AI to produce something, if it's not exactly perfect, and it won't be, go back and tell it why. Say, here's 3 things that I would do differently, or I would want you to do differently. It's also really helpful to actually just do the work the way you would do it, or edit or redo the work the way you would do it and say, this is what I want it to look like. And so you're basically giving that learning loop so that the AI understands what you're trying to do and what you want the work that it's doing to look like. As John Piper said, AI should never in any way replace your relationship with God, prayer, discipleship, nor preaching the word. However, AI can address a lot of your busy work that's in your life that could interfere with doing this critical work of ministry. So AI can really help you to free up more time to focus on that core mission. For more videos about leadership development and effective church operations based on biblical truth, check out my chapter-by-chapter breakdown of the book of Nehemiah, and also videos with practical ways to mobilize a church full of leaders.